So welcome back to another video of my Blu-ray collection, and we went through Arrow, well, part of Arrow films yesterday in the last video with Arrow Video, and I said in that video that had Arrow Academy, which are also part of Arrow films, but since I see them as a bit of a separate label, even though they are going to get merged later this year, I figured we'd give them a look at them their own. I do have a decent amount of them, but nowhere near as much as Arrow Video, but yeah. Really do love these films that I have from Arrow Academy, and the first of which is Woman on the Run, one of many film noirs I have from Arrow Academy. Not particularly long, only 78 minutes, but yeah, a really good film set in San Francisco, on set as well, which wasn't really much the norm back in those days. It took until the late 40s, for instance, to get a fully set on location film in New York, so that's really one way of looking at it. So then we have The Big Clock, do not mispronounce that name whatsoever, starring the great Ray Milland and Charles Laughton. Charles Laughton is one of my favourite actors from this kind of time period. He's in other films that I own. I think you might have saw him in the what was it, either Eureka or Indicator, I can't remember which, but yeah, still a great actor. Then we've got The Phantom Lady, or just Phantom Lady. Not one of the best film noirs out there, but still a pretty damn good one. And again, nails that film noir atmosphere, and has a really rather good script, good atmosphere on it as well. Then My Name is Julia Ross. Again, another cracking film noir. Again, not particularly long, only 65 minutes. I think that's easily the shortest film noir I actually have. But yeah, still pretty good, and got a really good cast in it as well. I think it's Nina Fox, who was in so many really rather good films. And then we got Too Late for Tears, which stars the great Dan Dwyer, who's the villain in many of these kind of film noir films, and then Lisbeth Scott. And longer than that, My Name is Julia Ross by 40 minutes nearly, but yeah, not the worst for it. Yeah, definitely nails that film noir atmosphere, like so many other films that I've you've already seen. Then we move on to a pair of Burt Lancaster films. First of which is Sweet Smell of Success, which is easily one of my favourite first-time watches that I've seen so far this year. Cracking 5-star film. Really has a deep, dark, thematic weight to it, and really good script. And Tony Curtis, who I've not actually seen in many films, I don't think I've seen him in a film at all outside of this one, is really rather good. But obviously he's more known for his more lighter roles, as well as Burt Lancaster at the time. Actually, it was a massive surprise that they were both in this really rather dark film, because they were known for their lighter efforts, and that's what put people off from watching it, which is why it was a box office bomb, but still a great film. Then another Burt Lancaster film, The Train, set in World War II in France, about a bunch of saboteurs trying to stop the Germans from getting a bunch of artwork from France to Germany. And spectacular World War II film. Again, like The Sweet Smell of Success, really rather quite dark. Really does pull no punches in terms of what happened to people during World War II. Actually, we have another Burt Lancaster film. We actually have a few from him, actually. There's another one in a collection that we'll see later on. But yeah, again, Burt Lancaster and Ava Gardner in The Killers. This was remade in the 60s, but I prefer this 40s version, to be honest. And really good cast, and really solid plot overall. And genuinely really rather good. And Burt Lancaster, as per usual, cracking actor. Then we move on to one that I didn't expect to like, but did eventually, with The Manchurian Candidate, with Frank Sinatra, who I didn't think was going to be all that good in the lead role, but he actually is. And it's helped by the fact that it's directed by John Frankenheimer, who is one of my all-time favourite directors. I said that in in the previous video with our video, that he was one of my favourite directors, and that's because he directed so many great films in the 60s, and this is one of them. So highly recommend trying that out. I know they remade it in the early 2000s, I think, but that 60s version is better. Then we sweep back a little bit to the 50s with The Night of the Hunter, starring the great Robert Mitchum and Shelley Winters. Again, like The Train and Sweet Smell of Success, is extremely dark. Deals with children in peril from a murderer, and that's why it's at 12, even though it's quite an old film. But yeah, really, really rather good. And yeah, cracks in at just over an hour and a half as well, so it's in and out, but makes a massive impact in the process. Then we have Elliot Gould in The Long Goodbye, which I stated in the previous video is what I got mixed up with The Long Good Friday and accidentally bought one of them again by accident because I was in a bit of a rush really. But yeah, Robert Altman does a really good job in terms of directing, and yeah, it's an 18 because it's really, I don't think it deserves that rating, but maybe it's because, you know, from the time, you know, the violence and all that lot, but that's why. But yeah, Elliot Gould is fantastic, and yeah, he's got a really rather sharp-witted script going for him as well, and he's a bit of an anti-hero in a lot of ways. Right, now onto the two newer films that I have from Arrow Academy, the first of which is Being John Malkovich, directed by Spike Jonze and written by Charlie Kaufman. Hilariously weird, dark comedy film with a fantastic cast. You've got you got John Cusack, Cameron Diaz. Cameron Diaz actually doesn't look like anything like you'd expect Cameron Diaz to look like. Catherine Keener and John Malkovich, of course. And yeah, all of them are great. Fantastic script and hilarious from beginning to end. Then we've got the newest film from Arrow Academy that I have, Children of Men, starring the great Clive Owen, Julianne Moore and Michael Caine. Great free lead cast, and yeah, directed by Alfonso Cuarón. And yeah, fantastic film. Lots of single shots in this, really rather dark thematically as well. Does kind of bear relevance nowadays with the way that you know, we're dealing with pandemics and all that lot, because this has a kind of, you know, dark you know, government control kind of thing going on about it. Not that I am saying there's any conspiracy theories over COVID or anything like that, but you can see the point. And then we're going to one of the special editions that I have, which is really rather remarkable, to be honest, and it is The Game, starring the great Michael Douglas and Sean Penn. And yeah, it comes in this massive box. As you can see, it's really rather tall. It's taller than any Blu-ray out there, and yeah, comes in this really nice book which goes through the film. You got the Blu-ray there at the front, and then you got all sorts of writings about the film. I think, oh yeah, the Blu-ray's at the back. I think it is in 4K actually. I can't remember, but yeah, still a fantastic film. One of the best thrillers of the 90s, and has one of the best endings of the 90s as well, to rival the likes of The Sixth Sense. And yeah, highly recommend it if you've never seen it before. David Fincher. I'm a bit of a love-hate relationship with David Fincher, but I do adore The Game. So yeah, highly recommend trying that out if you haven't already. Then we move on to a collection. It's only a collection of 2 films, but a collection nonetheless, and it's The Tales of the Urban Jungle. 2 films directed by Jules Desarn, one of which does star Burt Lancaster for the 4th or 5th time, and that one is Brute Force. Great prison drama this is, easily one of the best, and it's got one of the best action scenes of the 40s ever made, quite frankly. Absolutely brutal prison break scene. Then we've also got The Naked City, a great police procedural. Not much in the way of characterisation, but this was actually shot on location in New York, just like The Woman on the Run was shot on location in San Francisco. And yeah, it does a great job. Really does evoke the 1940s New York feel. And it's kind of, you know, a window into the past in a lot of ways, with all the old cars and all the old people and the buildings that probably don't mostly exist. And then you also get a really nice booklet that's like looks like a newspaper, which is really nice. And again, like other booklets, nice pictures, reading, writings all about it, about both films. And yeah, cracking film. There's part of the action scene that I was talking about with the prison break in Brute Force. And finally, we have a 4-film collection, 4 film noir classics: The Dark Mirror, Secret Beyond the Door, Force of Evil, and The Big Combo. Again, directed by a couple of people that we've already seen. I think we've seen Fritz Lang, but we have seen Robert Sidemark already, and then you also got Abraham Polanski and Joseph H. Lewis. Yeah, 4 cracking film noirs, to be honest. It's a bit of a shame that they're not individually cased, because Secret Beyond the Door has that and The Dark Mirror, as you can see. So yeah, I would have preferred them to be individually cased, but you pay a hell of a lot more for all 4 individually than you would otherwise. And then The Big Combo, with Force of Evil there, and then there's The Big Combo. So yeah, 4 great film noir classics, to be honest. Really wasn't expecting that, because they were a blind buy, like several other films that I have shown off already. But yeah, way less from Arrow Academy than Arrow Video, but that's just because Arrow Academy are a lot more specific to my in terms of what I like. Film noirs mainly are their offerings, but yeah, not much in the way of horror like, say, Arrow Video or sci-fi. But yeah, you got a couple of good thrillers there. You got a dystopian futuristic film like Children and Men. You got a dark comedy like Being John Malkovich, and then you've even got a World War II film like The Train. So yeah, nice mix, but generally older films, 70s or earlier. But I have no problem with that. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.